So here we have is my engineering sample of the DisplayPort 2-wire extender. This is the TNT port number of R06-EXT-C5E. For this unit, I'll be using, my setup will be a computer using a newer AMD graphics card with a ASUS monitor which has a maximum resolution of 1920 by 1200. Because the specs on this unit is maximum resolution is 1920 by 1200 and the maximum length that can extend up to is 100 feet using CAT6. So I have a N201 CAT6 cables here, 100 feet CAT6 cables here. Additionally, this monitor also supports audio, and to do that I will have a speaker connected to the monitor. It's where the output will be coming out from. So now that's the introduction of all these units, the equipment I'm using. You start actually setting up. Now the setup procedure is this, as follows. Now, for this example, we include a micro USB to USB cable because the transmitter unit requires it. Requires a micro USB to get power from USB port. That's why we include one. So first we connect the DisplayPort cable in. I have a 6 feet DisplayPort cable going to the PC. Next, connect the micro USB cable. So here you go. You see the DisplayPort cable connected, micro USB connected, green light on. Okay, that's that. And on the receiver side, I connect the power, and the green light comes on. Now, okay. Now, what that is, then you start connecting the UTP cables. The UTP cable, since we have two, I'm gonna do it one by one, port by port. So on the transmitter, you will see it will be labeled 1 and 2. So the cable I'm going to use, first I'm going to connect to 1. Same cable, I connect to 1 on the receiver side. Now, next cable I do is the other one for 2 and 2. Lastly, connect the DisplayPort cable that I have to the monitor, which is 6 feet from me. Connect on. Now, if you don't see signal, you adjust the EQ. And here you go. Now, I have it on EQ number 4 for this setup right here. That's what it uses. Different setup has different EQ settings. Now, I want to point out here, if you zoom in here, on the EQ, we have different settings. We have the toggles 1 through 9. 0 is usually not used, so that's fine. And then the S and L toggle. So I toggle the S. It might come up, but the picture might not be great. So you just use it to whatever you need. And what it does is basically changes the resistance inside the unit, so that's fine. Then you go back. Now also, here's another thing. Also, the orange light on the receiver unit comes on depending on your toggle. So if you do an S, there's no image. You do L, orange just come up. That's only for this side. Now, on the transmitter side, the orange light will come up regardless as long as you have something connected. And it's not, and your wires are not crossed. Now with EQ, now that I showed you the demo of the EQ, like color-wise, the LED difference and everything, I'm gonna go back to having it come up. I'm gonna adjust it back to what I had originally, that show picture. Okay, and we'll continue on. Okay, now once you do have a picture, you will bring up the video card's graphics setting or something, or whatever, or Windows set properties. I'm using the graphics card since I'm more used to it. And I go to detect displays, and here you see it detects the EDID of the monitor, the PA246 which is the monitor. And if you notice the little speaker sign, it means that this monitor could support audio, has a speaker outputs, audio outputs. That's why it has that little symbol. And additionally, I go to resolution settings. You will see my resolution right now is at 1920 by 1200, 60 Hz. I can change it to something else. I'll change it to 1080p, and you still see it changed. So this is the selection based on the model. Your selection is based on your monitor. So here you go. Then you go back to the 1080, 1920 by 1200. Now, like I said, also I remember saying it could do audio, and I already have speakers connected. Now, to do audio, first make sure your device is enabled. So I go from on the taskbar or control panels, I do audio, sounds, and then I choose playback devices, which means basically what devices could do audio support. And I choose, and here I see PA246, which tells me DisplayPort audio coming out, and it's the monitor. So I select it. Now sometimes you might have different other ones, but that's fine. As long as you hit over here and set as, like I say, I do something else right now. Let's say I do something different.
No.
Anyway, so you probably want to hit here, right click it, and if it says something about set as default, that's what you do. But I already have it set as default device. And to show you, I can test it, and here coming out. Now, let me close this again. Now, so let me, once you select the default device, hit OK, and then you just play an audio file for you. To actually let you hear the sound. As you can see here, I'm actually adjusting the sound through the speakers. So you know it's coming from actual speakers. So that's it for this device. Again, let me say, I'm going over 100 feet, which is the max we do with CAT6. Resolution of 1920 by 1200. Hit apply. By 1200. And audio support by looking at the task properties, sound properties, and seeing playback devices. You see the monitor there with the sound checked, meaning it's enabled, and testing it, sound.